Good evening, everyone. We regret the inconvenience caused due to the minor technical issues. We shall resume with the session at 8:30. I hope I am audible. I would really appreciate if you could just tell me in the chat box whether I am audible or not. Greetings on behalf of the Indore Democratic Summit, Central India's biggest youth parliament. I'm Anj Jain, the founder and CEO of YouthGenX and the patron in chief of Indore Democratic Summit, and I welcome you all warmly to this virtual training session. I once again regret the delays caused due to the sudden technical glitches that we are facing at our end. We appreciate your cooperation and support throughout this while. This session has been kept in order to inculcate and get students used to the habit of model United Nations, youth parliaments, and debating. By this session, we'll be particularly focusing on how they should prepare for the Indore Democratic Summit and also what are the rules of procedure, any queries that they want us to address, and something and everything related to it. If you're all with me in the session, please give me a thumbs up in the comment section so that we can start further with the session in detail. At the same time, I would request you all to please use the chat box for any queries or any issues that you face during the whole session. All right, seeing your replies in the chat box, let's start with the session. So, first of all, through this session, I'll be covering the overview, the rules of procedure, the articulation part, the speech delivering part, and also the research part for all of you. So, we'll be covering the representation language, attire, electronic equipments. How does the committee start? How does it end? Who is the bureau? What is the role of the bureau? The quorum, how do we set an agenda, what are the opening statements, what are the sessions all about, the points, amendments, majority, and voting. And I'll also be covering forward the points that you have as a question, beginning with the representation. All committees shall have participants representing a portfolio, each with one vote, that is one person, one vote, one value. In a dispute, the bureau's decisions shall be finalized and binding. So basically, All the portfolios that you're representing are your representations in the Indore Democratic Summit. They cover the committee, they cover the agenda, and they also cover the representation made by the people. So, for example, the representations are like in Lok Sabha, they are by the name of the members of parliament, for example, Narendra Modi, Rahul Gandhi. In MPLA, they are the members of legislative assemblies like Dr. Mohan Yadav, Mr. Tulsiram Salawat, Mr. Kailash Vijayvargiya, etc., etc. I hope I'm clear on the point of this representation and what does the word portfolio mean. Up next is the language. The Indore Democratic Summit shall use only two languages, that is English and Hindi. However, participants can use languages like Sanskrit, Greek, or any other language if they want to use a slok or a quote in their speech. However, they shall explain the meaning of the same in both English and Hindi or either of it as per their preferences. Is that clear, everybody? Moving to the next one, the attire, that is your dress code. The conference is something that deals with the Indian culture, so we request all of you to please carry decent Indian traditional attire on all the 3 days. Avoid wearing uncomfortable attires due to the weather and long walking that might come your way. Electronic devices, laptops, tablets, mobile phones, etc., are allowed during the committee time. However, the bureau can put a restriction. This restriction also applies on the internet facility. So now coming to the most important part, that is how would the committee proceedings start. Yes, you can bring tablets. All the 3 days are traditional attires only. Again, the definition of traditional attire is very well mentioned in the conference guide shared with all of you. The same is the attire for the commerce challenge as well as the sustainability challenge. And yeah, these are the few queries that I could have read in the chat box. So I have answered all of them. Now, how would the committees start? The committees obviously start on a harmonious and a patriotic background where we start with the national song. All the members stand and sing the national song. So, this shows unity, shared purpose among the committee members, and marks the beginning of their collective efforts in the session. Come a lot, the attire for all the 3 days is Indian traditional. The bureau is the executive board or the moderators of the committee, basically, the people who will run the committees. Now comes the point that once the committee starts, how would it end? It ends again with a patriotic display. This time we sing the national anthem. We start with the national song and we end with the national anthem for the committee once the conference gets over on the third day of the conference. Talking about the bureau, who is the bureau is a question that I could easily read there. So bureau are the people who look forward after the delegates, who look after the participants, and who make sure that the participants come and learn from the conference. The decisions of the bureau is completely final. However, an appeal can be made to the council or the core committee for the same. The bureau is responsible for the smooth conduct of the committee, for the procedural procedures of the committee to be followed, and also giving every parliamentarian, every member a chance to speak. The bureau are two learned individuals who will be sitting in opposition, who will be sitting opposite to the participants, facing the participants. Quorum is the minimum number of people that are required for the committee proceedings to start. So we'll require at least 1/5 of the total committee strength that will be communicated to you on the days of the conference. Now, I'll start with the point of how the committees are run, what happens in the committees, and how would the committee proceedings go. After the national song and the attendance is very important for all the members to recognize and know who is present and who is not present in the committee. I am also covering the rules of procedure now, so please focus and show us more attention here. After the attendance is done, The bureau shall call for any points or motions on the floor. So the bureau would ask the committee, are there any motions on the floor? At this, people who are interested, they shall raise their placard and the bureau shall recognize them. Now, how do we raise a motion and what a motion is? Motion is basically something that we would decide, that would decide the fate of the committee, something that would decide on what the committee would discuss upon further. So the motion, how do we raise the motion? We raise the motion, I'll also drop it in the chat box. I dash would like to raise the motion to move into a short duration discussion hour or a long duration discussion hour or a 0 hour or a question hour or whatever matches the agenda of the committee and the rules of procedure. Move into a short duration dash on the topic dash for the total time being dash minutes and per speaker time being dash seconds. I have dropped the same in the comment section also for all of you to look after and keep it for your reference. So we raise a motion on how and what sort of debate shall be done in the committee if there further thereafter further, and how can we as a committee discuss on the agenda that is raised. Now, the same pattern would be used for the sub agendas and any other agenda that will be raised. I have pinned this in the comment section for all of you. Are we all clear with the motion? Okay, I have seen a query. So motion is basically the point of time where you will fix the agenda for the discussion of the committee. We have given you the agenda, but since the youth parliament, the culture of the parliamentary democracy is that everything happens in the form of voting and everything happens as the people elected want. So if we raise a motion that we want to discuss on this agenda, we want to discuss on this agenda, we want to discuss on this topic, on saying when the house votes in favor of the motion, when there's a majority that is met, then only the motion is accepted and we discuss on that agenda. I hope I am clear now. And how do we raise the motion? I dash would like to raise the motion to move into a dash on the topic for the total time being dash minutes and per speaker time being dash seconds. I hope I am clear here. After setting the agenda, so initially we'll set the agenda to start the formal proceedings of the committee. After the formal proceedings of the committee are set, we'll start with the opening statements. What are the opening statements all about? Basically, opening statements are short duration speeches that the members of parliament and the members of the committee give, and these are like a generalized or a general welcome speech as well. What happens is you appreciate and you welcome all the participants, and you also encourage and you discuss about your point of views on the agenda for the committee. What is the agenda, what is your expectation from the agenda, and what do you expect from the whole house together. The time limit is set to 1.5 minutes per participant, and it is compulsory for all the participants to give an opening statement before the committee proceeds further. There are no questions that can be asked on anybody's opening statement, but questions can be asked in the later parts of the committee. However, opening statements are only speech deliveries by the participants of every committee in the respective committee sessions. Now I'll talk about the sessions. There are four major types of sessions that happen in Indian committees: short duration and long duration, short duration formal discussion session, short duration informal discussion session. Any session that is lesser than 5 days is a short duration session. So we'll be discussing only on the short duration formal discussion hours, discussion sessions. How do these discussion sessions work again? The bureau would ask, are there any motions on the floor? People who have the motion may raise their hands. On raising their placards, the bureau would recognize them, and then they raise the motion that I dash 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 would like to raise the motion to move into a short duration formal discussion session on the topic ABC, for the total time being 10 minutes and the per speaker time being 60 seconds. So this makes 10 speakers would speak on the agenda. Now once this motion is raised, there is a voting on this motion. How does the voting pass? Is through a simple majority, that is 50% plus 1 of the total members present in the house. That is it from the short duration session. There can be questions asked on the speeches of the students here. So, and the questions should be related to the speeches or to the agenda in general only. We cannot ask questions with the outside the speech. The timing for the opening statements is 90 seconds, and for the short duration sessions it is 60 seconds, can be extended to 90 seconds, and can also be reduced to 45 seconds. Moving further with the short duration informal session. So the previous one was the formal session where the executive board, where the bureau has the command in the committee. They'll tell you when to speak, when not to speak, how much to speak, how much not to speak. But the informal discussion session is only between the participants to decide what can be the next sub agenda, to decide what comes next, and to also decide on how the things will go in the committee. What are the sub agendas? What should we make the changes in the bill, or how to formulate a working paper or a resolution accordingly. This motion can be passed through a voice vote. I'll explain the voting in the end. Now, how do we move in the committees is something that we use these 4 points for: points of personal privilege, points of information, points of order, and point of parliamentary inquiry, followed by a right to reply. I'll go in the order. Point of personal privilege. So if somebody is speaking, only at this point, by using this point of personal privilege, you can interrupt them. If there is a mental or a physical discomfort that the participant is facing, or if you want to move out of the committee to use the washroom, or is there an important call, or you can something like that, then you can raise the point of personal privilege. Second, points of information, that is basically to the right to ask questions, the point to ask questions to the fellow parliamentarians on the basis of their speeches. Now there can be a maximum of 4 to 5 points of speech, points of information, again completely on the discretion of the bureau. Point of order. So if you have ever heard that the independence of India is celebrated on 15th of August, the Independence Day is celebrated on 15th of August. For example, while giving a speech, I said the Independence Day is celebrated on 26th of January, which is wrong. So you can raise a point of order and you can say the delegate, the participant made an error. They said India celebrates its Independence Day on 26th of January. However, India celebrates its Independence Day on 15th of August. If the fact check is right, you get points for the point of order, and the point is in order. Next is point of parliamentary inquiry. Basically, when somebody wants to know about the rules of procedure, or when is their turn to speak, or how many speakers are left to speak, how many speakers are there before them, after them, at that point of time, they can use a point of parliamentary inquiry. And the last one being, yes, you have to be recognized for POIs. Anything and everything that would happen would be only through the recognition. Yes, you will get certain research time definitely during the conference also, but we strongly suggest that you do a little bit of pre-research before the conference. The right to reply, this point is raised when somebody took your name and you want to reply to that, which because it hurt your sentiments. For example, somebody in their speech said that Mr. X, who is a member of parliament, is an illiterate fellow who is not working for the benefit of this nation. And Mr. X, who is present in the house, got hurt from this statement, so they can use a right to reply and answer that. This can also be done against a political party. I'll head back to the comment section for a few minutes where I have seen a few doubts that I'll look after. If you're not able to answer any POI, are the marks cut? There's a definite reduction of a little bit marks, again, depending on the question and the speaker itself. Are chits allowed? Definitely, chits are allowed. What is the topic? The topics, the agendas are shared with all the members of the parliamentarian. Documentation varies from committee to committee. However, we'll see bills in committees like Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, MPLA, IMC, and we'll see committee reports in the rest of the committees. You can definitely ask questions to the chits. You can answer the questions through the chits. Opening statement. For example, if you want me to tell you all about the opening statement, the opening statements are something. Wi-Fi shall be provided at certain points during the conferences. Will we have GSLs? No. In Indian committees, we have opening statements, and opening statements are exhaustive. GSL is not exhaustive. For the bus routes, please hold your horses. The bus routes will be shared. Don't worry about the bus routes. The timing will also be shared tomorrow or day after. Charging points will be provided. Everything. So your opening statements are basically in general overall view of the agenda that you want to present in the committee, the time that you want to give to the people, and the topics that you want to discuss. You can make blocks in the committee. Obviously, blocks are basically the sides, ruling side, opposition side, or supporting side, or the opposing side, completely on the discretion of the participants. I will come to the point of voting now. All right, voting. Anything and everything that would happen in the conference would happen through voting. There are two types of votings. One is formal voting and one is voice voting. What is a formal voting? Where everybody raises their placards and numbers are counted, and it is on the basis of the countings. What is voice voting? Voice voting is something that is on the basis of the volume of the people supporting a motion or people opposing a motion. For example, the saying goes, members in the favor may say aye, members against may say nay. Whosoever is the who has a higher voice or louder voice are the one who gets the vote and not in the favor. Now we vote to get a majority. What is a majority? There are two types of majority: simple majority, special majority. Simple majority is 50% plus one member of the total number of members present in the committee. Today, this happens in the favor of a motion or a paperwork. If you get more than 50%, the motion passes. Special majorities are for constitutional amendments or something that might be needed in that manner. That is two-thirds of the total members. For example, there are 30 members in the committee. The special majority would be 20, and simple majority would be 50 plus 1, that is 16 members. Amendments. So whenever the committee does a paperwork or makes a bill or goes to the working resolutions or working paper, what happens is an amendment can be raised if you are in not favor of something that has happened. Now there are two types of amendments. Amendments are basically small changes that you want to add, delete, or replace the words. Fine. So there are two types of amendments, one being the friendly amendment and the second being the unfriendly amendments. So friendly amendments are something that are like accepted easily and there is no voting required. Unfriendly amendments are the ones that require voting. This is all from the rules of procedure for the Indore Democratic Summit. I would now open the floor to answer your queries. What does bill and working paper exactly mean? So basically they mean when you're here in the committee rooms for solving the issues that our country is facing, what solutions do we propose to that and how do we as citizens deal with it? So we make bill and we make working paper or a committee report for the same. Motion would be of any topic. So every committee has an agenda set, and every agenda shall have a sub agenda. So the sub agenda shall be related to the motion. Are we providing all this on email to you all? You might have received the study guides already. The study guides contain all of this, and the same drive link also conducts the rules of procedure, conference guide, conference ROPs, everything. DR is again a working paper or a documentation of the committee. It is completely under discretion of the bureau. However, we recommend all of you to please make a committee report at least. All of you would be getting meals in the conference. On the first day, we have snacks for all of you, and on the second and the third day, we have breakfast, lunch, and high tea for all of you. I'll talk about the commerce and the sustainability challenge in the end. There are no position papers in the Indian committee. There are no substantive chits in the Indore Democratic Summit. Wi-Fi would be available at certain times of the day. If you haven't received the mail, please write it to us on our WhatsApp. We shall get back to you. You're allowed to bring devices in the Indore Democratic Summit. However, they are brought at your own risk. The motion is different. The agenda is same for you for all the 3 days, but you can choose the sub agendas. How to prepare for IP? The Press Information Bureau plays a very important role in noting down what happens in the country, what happens in the committees. So, while preparing for press, what you should do is you should become a good listener. You should be good at making notes and then compiling those notes into the form of your article submission. The dress code is Indian traditionals for all the days. You don't have to make your portfolios, you have to prepare for your portfolios. We will give you all the delegate kits, we'll give you all the we'll give you all the placards also. The dress code is Indian traditionals. There will be cultural events. The moderated and the unmoderated caucuses are basically the short duration discussion hours, which is a formal discussion hour. Short duration informal discussion hour is an unmoderated caucus. All right. If you did not get the study guide, please check your email again for the same. We have already emailed it to you all. Opening statement and how to research. All right. Opening statements, again, I mentioned in the very start of the session that opening statements are somewhere the time when we all look after and we all discuss the agendas. We all discuss our personal opinion on the agenda, our portfolio's opinion on the agenda, and how are we planning to take the committee forward in the next 2 3 days of the discussion. How do we prepare an opening statement? First of all, thank the dais for giving you an opportunity to speak. Recognize the presence of the dais, appreciate the presence of all the members in the house, and then start speaking on the agenda. As per your party policy, as per your portfolio's policy and the ideology, you should decide to support or oppose the agenda, and then your speech shall revolve around it. You also have to say what are your expectations from the session, as in that in the next 2 days of the session, I hope that we have a fruitful discussion on the agenda and find solutions to the issues that our country is facing. There will be cultural events. I have answered it. Transportation process, for the transportation routes, the same would be shared on the WhatsApp community. Every committee is in a different room. No, you don't have to submit anything to us. You can see and read also. You can see and read. You can read without seeing. You can directly give your speeches. Now comes the point, how do yeah, you can definitely wear formals. However, we encourage you all to wear Indian traditionals, as this is a celebration of the Indian culture. When will you I receive my committee? Ma'am, maybe your form was filled late. You will get that shortly. The location for the first day will be shared tomorrow. Will there be a teamwork for motion and oppose the motion? Yes, definitely. You can lobby for the same. There will be no motions of entertainment or informal sessions for entertainment in the Indore Democratic Summit. Boys cannot wear t-shirt and jeans, neither can girls wear t-shirts and jeans. You have to be present throughout the conference. You don't have to present any PPT or any PowerPoint presentation in the opening statement or anywhere in the conference. You can speak in Hindi. Conference is completely bilingual. You can wear decent denims. However, we don't encourage you to do the same. You don't have to do any return work. You can completely prepare without writing. Now, if I talk about the speech and the research part for all of you, please go through the study guide provided to each one of you. It is very important for all of you to read and understand the agenda very well before you enter the conference. What you have to do once you enter the conference is start thinking like you are the future of this nation, because you actually are, and you're the young parliamentarian who will be taking forward the floor for the next 2 3 days of the conference. What happens is you have to deliver speeches. The opening statements are compulsorily there for anybody and everybody in the conference. Now, what do we do there is you explain the agenda to everybody, you explain the purpose of the agenda, you explain the criteria, you explain the discussion that is there. And at this point of time, you have to give speeches. How do we give our speeches? Is basically articulation. We need to learn articulation. Your speech shall be divided into three parts: introduction, main part, main segment of your speech, that is the in-depth part that you're going through, and the conclusion is the third part. Now, introduction and greetings are general manners and etiquettes that all of us shall have, and we should be like thankful to the Bureau for your recognition, thankful to the dais for giving me the opportunity to speak, greetings to the August House, greetings to the fellow delegates or the fellow parliamentarians. Now, after that, you then focus on the agenda, you highlight the agenda, what is going wrong in the agenda, are you supporting the agenda, are you against the agenda. In the end, in the conclusion, tell what is your inference from the agenda and what are you expecting from the committee as a whole for the next 2 3 days of the debate. Now, how to research for individual committees is, again, you have to research through your portfolios. I'll take a short briefing for the challenges that we have, that is the sustainability and the commerce challenge, which are team challenges where people have participated in a team of 3 students, open only for the students of classes 10 to 12. In these challenges, there are 3 rounds of competition that would happen. These would test your business acumen, your public speaking, your knowledge, your teamwork, your individual efforts, and the same is how we'll be doing it. We have shared a guide for the commerce and the sustainability challenge also in the same Google Drive, so please go and check the same. Yes, you can read and share your ideas. That is completely fine. If somebody is asking a question in English, you can answer in Hindi. If somebody is giving a speech in Hindi, you can ask a question in English. That is completely fine. We shall share the committee matrices on 5th of August, so you can prepare accordingly. Second and third day, you have to come to NMIMS Indore itself. First day, the venue will be shared tomorrow. Are there any more constructive questions that anybody has? Please drop in the chat box. I shall be more than happy to answer it. Yes, every committee would be having awards. The award scheme shall be shared with you on the very first day of the committee sessions. Yes, you can use sheets. You can bring a laptop on your own risk. So no GSL. No, we don't have GSL. We have the opening statements in the Indian committees. I will share the committee matrices on 5th of August. I guess that is it for today's session. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining in on time. Yes, you can bring your phones as your school permits you to do this, so if they do it, and it is completely on your risk. Wi-Fi will be provided at certain languages. You can switch languages during your speech. That is completely fine. And that's it. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining and being such a patient and lovely audience. Thank you so much. We wish you all the very best for the Indore Democratic Summit and look forward to hosting you all there. Thank you.